If you own a rental property in California, anywhere in California, you need to hear this. There is a cottage industry of plaintiff attorneys who have figured out how to make money off of landlords without ever having to win a case. All they need to do is send you a letter. And now Sacramento is handing them a brand new weapon, a government mandate that the moment you can't comply with turns you, a landlord, into a defendant. I'm going to read you two articles that every California landlord needs to see, because if you think this doesn't apply to you, it certainly does. Both these articles appear on the website americanthinker.com, and I'm going to provide the links to these articles down below. Now, the first article is called California's Great Landlord Shakedown, How Legalized Extortion is Killing the Rental Housing Market. This was published May 14th, 2026. And it starts off, if you own a small rental property in California, you're a target. Not because you've done anything wrong, but just because you exist as a landlord. Sacramento has decided that landlords have deep pockets and they're worth shaking. A growing cottage industry of plaintiff attorneys has found every loophole in California's tenant protection statutes and weaponized them. The beauty of this model is you don't have to win to make big bucks. Just make a written demand, make it expensive, and sit back and wait for the check. There's no real substantiation needed, just the threat of a lawsuit. This racket is happening every day across California, and it's the result of California's implied warranty of habitability. Nobody wants tenants living in dangerous conditions, but the litigation around it has practically turned routine maintenance disputes into winning lottery tickets for unscrupulous tenants and their landlords. These law firms openly advertise their own take on this. One law firm, Tobiner Ravenscroft, self-proclaimed largest tenant law firm in California, claims a 99% success rate and more than $100 million recovered from more than 20,000 tenants. One LA firm has even boasted one tenant verdict above 1.3 million, and those are just the public numbers, not the ones that were settled out of court. Tenant attorneys typically work on 30 to 40% contingency fees, and in many cities like Los Angeles, tenants also receive taxpayer-funded right-to-counsel attorneys who still may collect contingency fees. Tenants pay nothing to file a claim and face little risk for making false allegations. Then comes the magic word, attorney's fees. On a successful habitability claim, the landlord pays the plaintiff's legal bill on top of damages. A tenant lawyer can sink $40,000 into a case knowing the losing landlord reimburses it. So let's say you have a 6-unit building. A tenant calls and says they have a recurring leak. You call the plumber. The tenant's attorney decides you're stalling because the plumber didn't come out immediately and sends a demand letter listing 12 violations and then asks for $75,000. You settle for $25,000 or $50,000 with no guarantee or recovering a dime. Most landlords end up just writing a check. One attorney advertises, after filing, landlords typically agree to settle, especially realizing tenants have strong evidence and attorney representation. So the same doctrine becomes a different weapon during evictions. When a tenant stops paying rent and a landlord files an unlawful detainer, habitability is one of the most powerful affirmative defenses in the tenant's playbook. In other words, in these instances, owners are left unaware of an alleged habitability issue until their tenant has stopped paying rent. That's when habitability claims come out in the open and are used as eviction defense tactics. That slows down the case, adds months of uncollected rent, and leaves little choice for an owner to settle. A tenant's complaint doesn't have to win on the merits. It just needs to slow things down with jury demands, continuances, etc. So even if you win, good luck collecting the judgment. The tenant who couldn't pay for rent for 6 months isn't going to pay a judgment. You're out the rent, legal fees, and costs of repairs. So Sacramento keeps adding to the pile. Assembly Bill 628, passed in 2024, makes the absence of having a working refrigerator and stove in your unit a habitability violation. So yeah, it's just stuff that you and I have been living with. There was an assembly member in 2026, Josh Lowenthal, who was actually a Democrat from Long Beach, introduced assembly bills which would have given owners time to cure alleged habitability violations before liability was attached. Both were shelved. What a surprise. So until something changes, California small landlords will keep running the same calculation. Pay the demand or pay the lawyer, and the litigation industry will keep cashing the checks. This is written by Daniel Yukelson from AGLA. Now, he wrote another article. Now, this is in regards to the coming mandate for us landlords to provide air conditioning. And the article is titled, "When the Government Gets Air Conditioning Wrong." And they say that forcing landlords to install air conditioning for tenants must be a victory for the tenants, but the article says no, it's not. So a new housing mandate has officially passed in LA County, and the LA City Council, of course, is considering following suit. Dubbed the 82-degree mandate, this mandate requires landlords to install air conditioning or other cooling mechanisms to ensure that rental units do not exceed 82 degrees Fahrenheit. It's clear this policy could end up costing both renters and independent property owners a fortune. Now, the article says approximately 80% of renters pay their own electricity bills. So, although the owner must install the units, the tenant is on the hook for massive summer utility costs required to constantly cool an apartment to 82 degrees. We also have a very fragile power grid. So the article is saying, what if everybody starts installing AC and using AC? It's going to hurt the grid, particularly during heat waves. So, yeah, it's the article says for large corporate owners, installing AC might just be another line item, but for independent mom and pop property owners like me and probably most of the people reading or listening to this article, this mandate presents a severe financial crisis. Massive debt for electrical upgrades. Older buildings in LA are just not wired to handle modern HVAC systems or multiple window air conditioning units. Landlords are not just buying air conditioners, they're being forced into six-figure electrical panel and wiring upgrades. I just had to upgrade my panels, not for AC, but for my new insurance policy that said my old panels were no longer acceptable. So there's no cost recovery for landlords. Independent mom and pops are expected to just absorb this massive debt for equipment costs, electrical upgrades, and there's no cost recovery. So, anyways, this is probably coming. Again, the LA County 82-degree mandate goes into effect January 1, 2027. Now, that's for unincorporated parts of Los Angeles County. So if you are in LA City, this does not yet apply to you, but we know it's coming. So folks, just stay on top of this stuff. Habitability is probably the most common thing that we're going to get sued for. So make sure you maintain your property properly. Always respond to repair requests promptly. Make sure you have plumbers and electricians and handyman on your speed dial. So when you get that call from a tenant, you're on that situation immediately. That's how I run my building. So I just wanted to keep you guys posted on what's happening in our world of rent control properties here in Los Angeles and California. If you have any questions, you need any help, feel free. I'm a great resource for information no matter what you're dealing with, whether it's upgrading your electrical panels, dealing with tenants and rent control, how to avoid SCEP inspections. Any questions you have, I'm here to answer, no obligation. I just want to help my fellow landlords stay in compliance so they don't get sued or cited by the city. All right, everybody, this is Derrick Ruiz, eXp Realty. Look forward to speaking to you soon. If you like this video, please click the like button, subscribe. I'm always putting out tons of landlord information to keep you guys informed. Thanks for watching.